Hey guys, what's going on? James here. Welcome back to yet another video where I break down each position of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now I have a couple of things that I want to address. First and foremost, I apologize that I did not upload yesterday. That's my bad, and I will continue obviously with the daily uploads for as long as I can unless I just slip up again, and if I do, I apologize for that in the future as well. Second thing I want to address is if you guys have any suggestions for videos, again, let me know down in the comment section below. Obviously, we are wrapping up this position breakdown series as we only have the safeties, the kickers, and the punters left, which obviously the kickers and the punters I'm probably going to wrap up in one video. And I do have a couple more things planned after that, but I will need your guys' help getting some more content out there and just overall suggestions. So, without further ado, let's get started with the safeties. Now, obviously, I have divided them up into free safety and strong safety. Now, for free safety, I've written down Justin Evans, Keith Tandy, and Josh Robinson. Obviously, with the safeties, I don't really know who's going to go where because the Buccaneers official website just says safety, so that makes my job a little bit harder. But I just decided to give my best guess. Obviously, some stuff I might not get right. In fact, probably a lot of stuff I probably won't get right, but just bear with me. And then for strong safety, I have Chris Conti, Godwin Ijwebuike, don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how I'm going to say it for the purposes of this video, Isaiah Johnson, as well as Jordan Whitehead. So we're going to talk about free safety first. First name I want to talk about is Justin Evans. So, when talking about Justin Evans, the former second-round pick, we got to really talk about how much he exceeded expectations and how much he surprised a lot of people last year. I was meh on the pick whenever it was announced. When people said, whenever the pick was announced, like, oh, Justin Evans, safety, I was like, okay. That was my reaction. I was just kind of like, wasn't excited. I wasn't mad. I was just kind of like, okay. That is what that is then, you know. And then he actually surprised a lot of people. He ended up being our best safety last year. Definitely had a nose for the ball hawk, if you want to call it that. You know, he really improved last year. He just seemed to get better as the season went on. I think a lot of people were putting him as like a top 20 safety last year, and that's in his rookie season, so that's pretty impressive. I think Bleacher Report actually did. They put him as like a top 20 safety. So, you know, all in all, that's pretty impressive. He had, for all intents and purposes, a very decent rookie year. So he's looking to improve off of that, just overall get better in coverage, in tackling, just trying to work at being an even greater safety for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He already, in my opinion, is our best safety, so he just needs to work on his impressive rookie season last year and just continue with that momentum. Yeah, I expect big things from Justin Evans, so yeah, that just is what it is. Next, we have Keith Tandy. Now, honestly, I don't know why Keith Tandy isn't a starting safety for us. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, he's a role player, like he hasn't, you know, it's Keith Tandy, who cares? A couple years ago, I went to a Saints game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was a home game, and I think it was like the last game of the year, and Keith Tandy got a game-sealing interception. I remember I yelled like, oh, that's what Keith Tandy does. He gets game-sealing interceptions. Because I think it was like that year, I think he had like 3 game-winning interceptions, and then this past season, he just didn't start for us. I don't know if it was because of injuries or just Mike Smith wanting to rotate safeties, which, quick rant, I absolutely hate rotating safeties. I hate rotating safeties. I get it for a defensive lineman. That makes sense. I kinda get that for cornerbacks. Kinda makes sense. You want to play matchups there, but for safeties? Why? What's the point? Just have one guy starting at one safety position, one guy starting at the other safety position, and don't mix and match them. Don't put a guy who might be better at a free safety at the strong safety position. It's stupid in my opinion. I hate it. Stop rotating safeties, please, Mike Smith, for the love of God. Yeah, so I don't know why Keith Tandy didn't start for us last year. It could have been because of injuries. Maybe he had some nagging injuries that we just didn't know about. Maybe they just thought he wasn't a starting caliber safety. You know, maybe they liked Chris Conti more because I think he actually ended up being the starting safety for a bit. Who knows? Maybe he didn't play well last year. I don't really remember how Keith Tandy played last year. I thought he played okay. I know he got murdered by Devontae Freeman in the Monday Night Football game. I was there for that one. And, you know, I've been there for Keith Tandy's highs and Keith Tandy's lows, and I'm still a big Keith Tandy supporter. I still think he should be the starter opposite Justin Evans to start the year. Maybe he will be. Maybe he won't be. I don't know. I want him to be the starting strong safety, but that might not happen. Anyway, moving on to Josh Robinson. So for Josh Robinson, he's kind of our special teams ace since Russell Shepard left, which, by the way, Russell Shepard, he was kind of released by the Carolina Panthers, and I kind of want him to come back on a cheap contract, obviously, of course. I don't want him to pay like $2 million like what the Panthers were doing. I want like veteran minimum for him. Anyway, point is that Josh Robinson has taken over as the Buccaneers special team ace, and obviously I think that role is going to continue unless you have guys like Godwin, Ijwebuik, Isaiah Johnson, and Jordan Whitehead who kind of take over that role and prove to be even better on special teams. But I don't know if that's going to happen because Josh Robinson is really good on special teams. So I don't think anything's... honestly, I think Justin Evans, Keith Tandy, and Josh Robinson's roster spots are pretty much safe for the most part. If I had to name somebody... maybe not so much Tandy and Robinson. Their spots might be in jeopardy. It all depends on how many safeties the Bucs want to carry, but I'll get into that in a minute. I'll get to that at the end of the video. But moving on to strong safety, you have Chris Conte, Godwin, Ijwebuik, Isaiah Johnson, as well as Jordan Whitehead. And these were all the safeties that are currently under contract on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers official website. If I missed a safety, please let me know down in the comment section below again. Now, first we're going to talk about Isaiah Johnson, who last year kind of proved that he is pretty decent on special teams after a slew of injuries happened, and we brought him back on the team. I think he's been on the team a little bit before, but he had a game-sealing fumble recovery on a punt coverage last year. I think it was I think he actually returned it for a touchdown or something. It's like game-sealing touchdown or whatnot. So yeah, shout out to Isaiah Johnson. You know, if he doesn't make the roster as a special teamer, I could see him ending up on the practice squad, and I think he would be. I don't think he'd get signed away if he was on the practice squad. And, you know, if we have a slew of injuries, maybe they see like, oh, Josh Robinson isn't doing good anymore as a punt coverage guy, or if Ryan Smith decides to stay on the roster, or if they decide to keep Ryan Smith on the roster, it's like, oh, Ryan Smith isn't that valuable as a punt coverage guy and kickoff coverage guy anymore, and they decide to cut one of those guys and bring in Isaiah Johnson. That's something I could see happening pretty realistically, in my opinion. So that's kind of the role I see for him. Moving on to Godwin Ijwebuik. Still don't know if that's how you say his name. I'm sure people have actually told me in the comments how to say his name, and I've probably read those comments a handful of times, but that's how I'm going to say his name for the purposes of this video. Anyway, I have a lot of faith, and I have a lot of belief in Godwin, and here's why. After all the free agents were signed, and I did that undrafted free agent signing video, I went ahead and I looked up all the guys, and I looked up all their draft reports and stuff like that. And a lot of people had Godwin going in the 3rd to 4th round in the draft, and he ended up going undrafted. And I'm not sure why. I couldn't tell you, but he ended up going undrafted. And I think the Bucs got some tremendous value here. I think he's pretty decent. I think he's better than your average undrafted safety, and I think he could definitely make a name for himself, not only on special teams, but just as a overall player. I fully think that he is going to make the roster, and he could figure into this safety rotation pretty well. I obviously don't think he'll be a starter, but I think he's definitely a dark horse and a sleeper, in my opinion, to surprise a lot of people, not only in rookie training camp, but also in normal training camp and preseason. I think they actually just did an interview with him recently, one of the Bucs websites, and he said like, yeah, I'm going to cherish these opportunities, and I'm gonna try and take an opportunity to be a decent special teamer to start off, and then form a role as a safety. So he knows his place, obviously. He knows that his goal right now is to just make the team, and he's going to work really hard on that goal, and I think he's going to do it, guys. In my opinion, I think he's going to do it. And then next we have Jordan Whitehead, the former 4th-round pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just recently his past draft. Same with Godwin. Obviously, Whitehead was a draft pick, so he's going to be more favored. I like Jordan Whitehead a lot. I think eventually he will replace Chris Conte as the starting safety. I don't think it's going to happen this season, obviously, but later down the line, maybe give it next year, he could end up being the starting strong safety for the Buccaneers. The guy hits like a freaking truck. and he does have some stuff to work on. He obviously could be a better tackler. He could be a little bit better in coverage. And when they interviewed Mike Smith, of course, being Mike Smith, said like, "Oh, we love Jordan Whitehead because he can play both safety positions, and that's awesome." And I'm like, Mike Smith, you stop it. You stop it right now. You pick a safety position for these players to play, and you let them stay there because that is how you develop them into a specific type of safety. You rotten man. What have you done? Ugh. Ugh. Like, I hate it. I hate rotating safeties and like moving them around like, oh, he's going to be a strong safety for a little bit. Now he's a free safety. It's not how you do that, man. You just put a guy somewhere and leave him there. Please. That's all I want. That's all I want. Is that really so hard to ask? Anyway, Jordan Whitehead, I think he'll end up being a good, strong safety because I think Justin Evans is going to end up being the starting free safety, obviously. So I think Whitehead can develop into something. Like I said, he's got kind of what you look for in a strong safety. He's a little undersized, but I think he makes up for it for hitting like a truck. Like I said, he does have some stuff he needs to improve on. Obviously, he's a rookie, so we shouldn't expect too big of things. But I think he's somebody you can develop and work with later on down the line. And then finally, we have your favorite Bucks player, and mine as well. We have Chris Conte. A lot of people don't like Chris Conte. Sorry, that's a lie. Everybody loves Chris Conte. I can't make it up. Everybody loves Chris Conte. You love Chris Conte. I love Chris Conte, and I'm sure everybody will tell me in the comments section right now how much they love Chris Conte. So Chris Conte has been with the Bucks for a couple of years now. It's actually surprising. You know, I always sit there and I think like, man, that guy's been with the Bucks for how long? And Chris Conte, he's hung on. I think he's hung on since Lovie Smith. It's what, 4 years? 4 or 5 years? That's pretty impressive in my opinion. He's been a starting-ish safety for the Bucks that entire time. That's nice in my opinion. Good for Chris Conte. You know, for so much crap that people give him, he does play with a lot of heart, like I referenced to earlier with Keith Tandy. When I went to that Monday Night Football game last season with the John Gruden induction and all that, Conte was pretty much all over the place. He was always where the ball was. He was trying to cover Julio Jones. He was doing an okay job of it at some points. Obviously, it's Julio Jones, so you can only contain that monster for so long. But Chris Conte plays with a lot of heart. He plays really hard. Fair play to him. Yes, he does get burned in some coverages. And yes, he might not be the best safety. You could probably easily replace him as a starter. But I'm fine with Chris Conte. I don't hate Chris Conte like a lot of people do. And again, I'm sure you're all telling me in the comments how much you love Chris Conte. But he's going to be our starting safety again, probably. The coaching staff loves him, like absolutely loves him. So I don't think he's going anywhere, at least for this season. Next season might be a different story. But as of now, Conte's here to stay yet again. So if I had to give a prediction of who I think our starting safeties are, at least at this point, now obviously I'm going to be making a roster prediction and starting roster, all that kind of crap later on down the line. But right now it's probably looking like it's going to be Justin Evans and Chris Conte again. So, you know, we didn't do a whole lot to like, you know, our safety room doesn't look that much different, obviously, with the additions of Godwin and Jordan Whitehead. So not a whole lot of new additions, but I think with Godwin and Whitehead, they have the potential to be something good. So those are two guys to definitely keep an eye on. But let me know what you think down in the comments section below about the whole safety position. Who do you think is going to start? Who's going to be a sleeper for you? Who do you think is going to do good? Who do you think is going to do bad? And if your automatic answer is Chris Conte, well then you're lying to yourself, because we all love Chris Conte. That's a fact. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and like the video, and if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Share this with your friends on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever you want to share it, on Instagram maybe. Who knows? Don't forget to join the Facebook group and like the Facebook page. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. All that fun stuff. And in the next video, we will be pretty much wrapping this up. We will be wrapping up the position breakdown with special teams. Woohoo! Yay! The most exciting thing for last. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video, but until then, goodbye for now, guys. See ya.